My way to describe this class is if you're trying it all, you're doing it wrong. So you don't want to have to be putting in any effort. You're not trying to stretch or tone or do anything. So that's why we have all these props. So we use the blocks or the books, the bolsters or the pillows, the blankets to hold all of the parts of the body up so that nothing is kind of hanging out there stretching. And so the goal is to let the body go into a really deep relaxation. Some poses will hold for a few minutes, like 4 minutes. Others, it might be as the last one, say, for example, might be as long as 8 minutes. And then at the end, after we finish the restorative poses, then we will do this guided meditation body scan, which is called Yoga Nidra. And that is you're just laying on your mat, cozy with your blanket and your socks and pillows, making yourself into like a little, putting yourself in a little nest. And I will guide you through that meditation, which will be about 20 minutes. And then we'll wrap it up. So by the time you're done, it'll be about an hour and 15 minutes of just resting and restoring and renewal. So it's a really beautiful practice for giving yourself that rest that we often don't take in our lives. And of course, I called it the Thin Veil Restorative Yoga class because this is the weekend when all of those Thin Veil holidays fall at the same time and feast days, from All Hallows Eve to All Saints Day, All Souls Day, the Celtic celebration of Samhain, which is the New Year in the Celtic tradition, the ancient Celtic tradition, and then, of course, Dia de los Muertos. They're all focused on that same thing, which is the idea that we are at this time when there is almost like a thinning of the space, the thin space between heaven and earth, when we focus on those who've gone before us and sort of give thanks for them, pray for them, send intentions for those who we love who are no longer with us, and feel that connection with us. So thinking about that as we move through this very restful practice, just if you have people that you're thinking of, almost setting a little intention for them as we do this practice, and also using it as a time for a reset as we head into this new season. So technically we're not switching seasons, we're still in fall, but you know what we mean when we get to that November season, the clocks go back, the days get colder, grayer, darker, we start moving toward the holidays. It's like we're moving into that sort of season where things are fallow, where things are supposed to rest a little bit. And so giving ourselves some of that space to prepare for that and to remind ourselves that we are allowed to rest and that rest actually nourishes us and feeds us and makes us more energized and stronger and hopeful for the stuff that's ahead of us. So beginning tonight, in whatever seat you want to be in, and if you would prefer to be laying down, we're just going to do a few little tiny movements before we start to kind of loosen up a little bit. But if you would prefer to lay down, you can do that. If you are sitting up, just sit up nice and tall and let your hands rest on the legs. And if you like to have your legs out in front of you, that's fine. You take whatever position is better for you. And sort of close your eyes if you're okay with closing the eyes, or gaze down if that's better for you. And land in your space. Just feel yourself landing on the mat, on the chair, wherever you are. And let yourself begin to release some of the tension. So starting at the top of the head, the forehead, releasing the furrowed brow, maybe that tension we put between our brows, unclenching your jaw, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. It almost feels like your neck is longer when we do that. Softening in the throat and the heart space, the navel center, the lower belly, all the way down to the pelvic floor and the glutes and the hips and thighs, even the hands, right? So sometimes we're even clenching in our hands. Just starting to notice where we can let go of some tension that we're carrying. And then seeing where our breath is tonight. So noticing if the breath is way up in the top of the chest, that fight or flight freeze breath, which is can make us a little more anxious. If we can bring that breath down into the belly, that diaphragmatic breathing, it's a more calming breath. It sort of lets our body know that it's okay to rest, it's okay to relax. So trying to notice if the belly is where the breath is coming from, feeling the belly expand a little on the inhale and contract on the exhale. And maybe if you can, bringing a little balance to it. So maybe you count silently to 4 on the inhale, little pause at the top, and then 4 counts on the exhale, little pause at the bottom, and continuing like that. And if 4 doesn't work for you, you could go to 3, you could go to 5, but try to keep them even. And just take a few breaths like this while I read you this poem called Centering by Dana Fowles. And I'm actually going to use a few poems from her beautiful book called Prayers to the Infinite. She writes yoga poems throughout our practice tonight. Here, right now, bring your mind to this place and time. Invite it, even if it resists, to sit and witness what it is to be alive. Let there be no ulterior moment in this, let there be no ulterior motive in this moment, but to be. Rest on the waves of breath and choose to experience all of it. Let thoughts flow through and leave again as the mind slowly settles like snow inside a shaken paperweight. This is all there is here, right here and now. And if you're still counting your breaths, you can release that and come back to your regular breath. And with eyes closed or open, whichever you prefer, just roll the shoulders up toward the ears and then roll them back and down. So just releasing the shoulders a little bit, rolling them up and down, going around in these nice circles. We hold a lot of tension in our shoulders and our neck. So even though we're just going to be doing this restful practice, it's good to do a few small movements to kind of get some of the kinks out. And now we'll reverse that motion, going up and forward. And you can come to a pause, bring the chin down to the center of your chest, and then drag it over to the left side, right, like your left shoulder, and then back through the middle, over to the right side. So we're just making these little half circles, giving yourself a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Just really slowly and gently. So we're not doing anything that's going to hurt. And then come back to the center. Head is up tall. And then we'll inhale both arms up to the sky, hands touch, and then exhale the palms back down toward the ground. 2 more like that. Inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, let the palms meet, and then let's bring those palms down to the center of the heart. And when we have our hands here at the heart center, the thumbs sort of resting gently on the sternum, just bow the head slightly. Take a moment to pause and think about whether you have an intention for something related to this time of year, this thin veil time, All Saints, All Souls, or if you have an intention for your practice. Maybe it's just to bring some peace to your life or to calm some of the chaos of the world, whatever it is that you need. And then we'll lift that head back up, clasp the hands together, and push the palms away. So you get a nice stretch across the back. You bring your chin down. And then we'll inhale those hands up to the sky and release them back down again. Bring them to the tops of the legs and just go ahead and do some gentle hip circles. And they can be little tiny hip circles where you're barely moving, or if you want to get deeper into it, you can use the hands to kind of help you do that. And this is our last movement. Maybe we'll do one more before, I might have lied. We'll do one more before we lay down. Once I get going, then I get carried away. And then pause and go in the other direction. And then come to a pause. Take your hands sort of behind you and bring your feet out in front of you. If this isn't good for you, that's okay. You can just begin to lay down on the mat and just gently take the knees from side to side. You don't have to go all the way to either side, but just to kind of loosen up the hips and the knees a little bit. And then we'll come back to the center and set up for our first position, which is going to be, if we were doing this in a class where we have a lot of props, lots of blocks and things, you would be doing this with big cork blocks like this. But we're going to do it with pillows and do the modified version so that you can learn how to do this at home. So if you have pillows, bigger pillows, so if you're using bed pillows, you could use those. And maybe even a blanket on top to make it a little taller, or whatever's good for you. Depends on how long your legs are. And basically, you could take a little pillow under the head when we lay down. We're just going to put our knees over this. If you have a handy dandy eye mask, which I had put on the list at the last minute, if you don't have one, get one for the next time because those are nice. It's like a little weighted eye pillow. So just get yourself up so that you can put your legs over the pillow so that your calves are resting on it and your knees are at the edge. And then lower yourself down. And maybe you figure out this is too high or it's too low. You could make adjustments. So you could take another pillow. If you're tall, maybe you want it to be higher. And once you get here, you could take a pillow under the head or a blanket under the head. You could put a blanket over you. We'll be here for a few minutes. So you maybe want a blanket on top of you. So just start playing around with this. And then your hands are going to be at your side with the palms up. And you're going to let yourself relax into this position. Don't try to hold yourself in the position tense. So you start to release things. And our goal is to try to stay fairly still, right? We don't want to be moving around. I'm going to move so that I can get up in case I'm seeing any notices from anyone. You're going to stay in that position for a few minutes. I've got my little timer set, so you don't worry about when you're going to move. If something feels uncomfortable, you should move. So we don't want to stay in this position at all costs, okay? So the goal is to basically just let those legs be a little bit, see how they're raised up higher than the hips, higher than the heart, the arms at the side, the face unclenched, the brow soft. Notice if you're arching your back up, let the back relax down to the ground. Notice if your shoulders are scrunched up toward the ears, let them relax. Unclench the jaw and just let yourself be. And you're going to hear me stop with all these instructions. So just relax in the silence. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now, lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to it. Just for now, Allow a wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth. Just for now, be boundless, free, awakened, energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are, so fully alive that when you open your eyes, the world looks different, newly born and vibrant, just for now. Begin to make some little movements with your fingers and toes. And you can walk the feet back. Maybe the feet land onto your bolsters. If it's comfortable, you can pull the knees into the chest and rock a little bit. Just sort of waking yourself up again. And then gently let the knees come over and sort of roll to your right side. So you're just pausing on the right side for a minute before we move to our next pose. So just giving yourself this little rest on your right side, maybe using your arm as a pillow. And noticing that the transitions between the poses should be sort of quiet and mindful. So the goal is, even when we're setting up the props and trying to get ourselves comfortable, we try to do it in an intentional way. And so you can gently push yourself up a bit so we can set up for the next position, which will be this nice side position where we're going to use our bolster or pillows to sort of prop our leg up. So let me see if I can show you how it'll be. So I've got my blanket, or you can have a pillow that's going to come underneath my neck. I'm actually going to put my neck right on the roll of this. So if you can see that I've rolled my blanket a little bit, and I'm going to let sort of the neck kind of curl over that and my head rest on the other side. And my arm is going to come out at shoulder height. And then my leg. So if you're doing it on your right side first, you're on your right side. The right arm is out. Your neck is over your little pillow here. You can adjust it. And then you're going to take your knee and rest it on top of your bolster. So the bottom leg is out straight. The right leg is at a 90-degree angle, resting on top of your bolster or pillows. And the head, I'm actually going to change that around. I'm going to let my head rest on my blanket so that it's propped up a little bit. This top hand can rest on the hip or on the pillow, or if people like to stretch their hand out overhead, you could do that, but you don't want it hanging out in the middle of the air. That would not be good. So you need something to land it on, which would be one of your blocks or books or pillows. But you don't have to do that. It's kind of nice to have it resting on your hip. You'll know if you're somebody who likes to stretch a lot, you might like the feeling of the arm stretched overhead. But the resting on the top hip is sort of nice. And this one, you'll be in here for a shorter time because then we have to turn to the other side and do it in the other direction. So now that you land here, and again, just decide if you need to adjust yourself. It's fine if you do. Soften your face, close the eyes, or soften your gaze. Unclench the jaw. And just let yourself release, feeling the side of your body touching the ground, the pillows or bolster holding up your leg under your knee and your calf. Softening everything else. The hand that's extended, the palm is up, and the hand is just naturally releasing to the sort of the natural curl of the fingers, so not clenching anything. The inner light is always with me. When I slip beneath the agitated surface of my mind, I find it, like a fragment of the Big Bang, still glowing. This energy doesn't depend on health or strength or even mental peace. It isn't a product of belief, nor is it, quote, me in any egocentric way of speaking. The inner light is always there, waiting to be felt and seen, waiting for me to release it through my choice to be still and recognize its presence. The illumination grows the more I let it go. Like radiant heat, it flows out of me, flows from my whole being without leaving me depleted. We're all like this, whether we know it yet or not. Tiny stars, glowing in the dark. And begin to deepen your breath, rolling onto your back slowly, readjusting yourself to maybe the middle of your mat. Move the pillows a little bit out of the way. Just we're going to need them for the other side. But before we do that, take your feet as wide as the mat or on the ground. Just take them tented out a little bit. Knock the knees together. And then we'll just windshield wiper the legs a couple of times, few times slowly, sort of to reset everything before we switch over and do the other side. So just giving the spine and the body a chance to reset before we shift over. Now, keep in mind that when we do these poses where you have two different sides, they may feel different. So, based on our structure, based on our aches and pains and things that we deal with, you may go to do one side and need to readjust and have it be a different feeling for you, and that's okay. So, we're going to move over to the opposite side. If you started on your right, go to the left, and vice versa. So get your pillows in the position. I'm going to be facing away from you for a moment. You're going to lay down with that leg straight out and the top leg resting on top of those pillows with a 90-degree angle in the knee and adjusting it to wherever you need it to be. And then finding something for the neck or the head to just keep it comfortable so it's not just hanging. That left arm or whatever arm's on the bottom is out straight from the shoulder, palm up. The top hand is resting either on your thigh, your hip, maybe on the bolster or the pillows, whatever would keep it in position. And then we close the eyes and just let ourselves melt into this space. I'm not going to read anything on this side, so it'll be quiet for a few minutes. It's okay if you doze off. I'll wake you up. And begin to deepen the breath. Slowly roll over onto your back. That same thing we did before, sort of shift yourself back to the center of the mat. Maybe move the pillows or bolster a little bit out of the way and just take the knees from side to side a few times. And the next time the knees come over toward the right, let them come to the right again, pausing there with the knees bent and the arm underneath your head as a little pillow. Just taking a couple of breaths here before we push ourselves gently up to a seat to set up for our supported child's pose. So if you've done yoga, you know child's pose is you're sort of on your belly. So we'll set ourselves up for this. You might need your books or your blocks for this, depending on how high you want your pillow to be. So I will use books for those of you. I have the blocks, but I'm going to use books so you can see it can be done with books. I got a big giant encyclopedia of saints. I need something big. So I'm going to put those underneath there so you can see it's almost like an equal sign. So it helps if they're sort of evenly sized. And then I'm going to take my pillows and put that on top. So I'm making like a bolster that I'm going to lay on top of. Just so you know, for folks who like to do this practice, they make yoga bolsters like this, which is what it's made for. So if you were doing this in a yoga class, I'll just show you. You would have blocks, if you're using blocks, underneath, and then you would have a bolster on top. So it's a little bit sturdier than our bed pillows, but you can do it with the bed pillows. So now I'm going to actually take a blanket for under my ankles when I do this. So this is going to go down by my feet, and I'll show you how this gets set up. Your big toes are together. Your knees are a little bit wider. We're not going to sit like this, so don't worry if this is not good for knees. We're going to pull this bolster in so that it's almost like your pillow's in like the inner thighs. And you sit up really tall, so your spine is nice and long, and you walk yourself out onto the bolster. And you can lay your face to one side. Some people might like this to be higher on one end, so it's a little bit inclined. So you could move your book to a different position, or you could put a pillow underneath it. And then you find your position and you just let the hands rest on the ground, or again, they rest on the blocks or the bolster. You don't want them just hanging though, like off an edge of something. And once you get here, we're going to stay here for about 3 minutes. And then I will tell you when to turn your face to the other direction. So you're now in this position, you're sort of feeling the bolster or the pillows pressing gently into the belly. Soften the face. Let the shoulders relax. So wherever the hands are, just let the shoulders relax so you're not doing any work to hold everything up. Soften the glutes, the pelvic floor. Be the energy. Trust the energy that courses through you. Trust. Then take surrender even deeper. Be the energy. Don't push anything away. Follow each sensation back to its source and focus your awareness there. Be the ecstasy. Be unafraid of wonder. Emerge so new, so vulnerable that you don't know who you are. Be the energy and paradoxically be at peace. Dare to be your own illumination and blaze a trail across the clear night sky like lightning. And you can gently turn your face to the other side. And that just gives your neck a chance to stretch in the other direction. So in yoga, we always do everything on each side and in both directions. And just notice, again, the other side might feel a little different when you turn your head a different way. So make any adjustments you need to make to let yourself just relax into that position again. We just slowly push ourselves up off that bolster, using the hands first to lift you up, and then coming up to hands and knees if that's comfortable for you. Maybe you move the bolster a little bit. And before we get out of this position, I'm going to move my blanket out from under my ankles. You could do a few cat cows to try to loosen up the spine a little bit. So to do that, your hands are planted, your shoulders are over your wrists, your hips are over your knees, tops of the feet are on the floor. And on the inhale, you lower your belly and you lift your gaze up. And on the exhale, you push the mat away and your chin comes to the chest. That's the cat pose. And when the belly gets low and the gaze lifts and your collarbones spread wide, that's the cow pose. Just do a few of those motions, loosen up the spine a little bit. And then come back to our tabletop. And you can just sit down for a second while we get ready to do our final of the restorative poses. I always say, often save this one for last. It's the hardest to set up, but to me, it's the icing on the cake. It's a reclined bound angle pose, or in yoga called Supta Baddha Konasana. So we're going to need a lot of props. So you want to, the goal is going to be to have this pillow or bolster on like a slight incline, and you're going to be laying your back on it. So you're going to need either books, blocks, or maybe even books and a pillow. So I'm going to take those books, then I'm going to take this pillow, and because I want to try to set it up the way you might be, I'm going to use my bed pillows so that you can see that you can do it with this kind of props. So that's what you basically want. You want like an incline for yourself to lay back on. But you also need something for under the sides of your knees, which is why I was saying so many pillows and blankets. So you could roll a blanket or a pillow. Oh, I'm going to use pillows and blankets. So that way you're not saying, wait a minute, she has blocks. It's easier. So this is how it's going to be set up. Your tailbone is going to be at the base of this little incline. Your soles of your feet are going to be together. If that does not feel good for you, it's okay to have your legs out straight. But if you're going to do the full one, the soles of the feet are together and the knees go out. So you're creating like a diamond. You can use the blanket and pillows or blocks or books underneath the legs. So you want to hold those legs up so they're not hanging out there and like loose and wobbly around. So put something underneath. And then you're going to sit up nice and tall and slowly, so you don't slide around, lay yourself back onto your bolster. It's delicious. So the legs are being held up by books, blocks, or pillows. The hands can be out at your side with the palms up. So they're just kind of laying on the ground. If you need to, you can adjust yourself. Maybe you get here and you're like, I need another pillow, I need another blanket. Maybe you don't like the legs bent. If that's the case, you could always just straighten the legs and put a pillow underneath the knees to lift them up a little bit. And that would be great too. So for folks who don't want to do the feet together, just put something under the knees and let the legs extend so that you're lifting those legs just a little bit. Palms are at your side, palms up, laying on the ground. Notice if your chin is way back. Try not to have the chin way back. Maybe fold your blanket or your pillow under a little bit to support your head. So I just tucked the edge of my bed pillow underneath my neck a little bit better. Close the eyes, soften the face. And this will be fairly long, like that first pose, since this one is a super relaxing pose. Reclined bound angle. Let me grow so quiet inside that I hear the private conversations of crows as they fly by my window. Let me be so open that I see with different eyes this world born fresh again at dawn. I wish to take none of this for granted, not the miracle it is to breathe, nor the wonder that I can choose between truth and a fearful view of life. May wisdom and insight guide me on my way today. Amen. Begin to deepen your breath. If your legs are pulled in with the toes, the palms, bottoms of the feet touching, go ahead and stretch the legs out long. Maybe take your arms over your head for a stretch. And then gently roll to the side, just so you can come up and clear all the props off your mat. Because now we'll move to that final resting pose, Shavasana, where you're going to lay down on your back. But since we're doing this with a guided meditation, you want to be super cozy. So this is why I said have cozy socks, have a blanket, maybe something for under your head. So we'll be in this position for 20 minutes as I guide you through the meditation. So you want to be super comfortable. So make sure, however you set yourself up, usually you're flat on your back, your arms are at your sides with the palms up, your feet are just kind of hanging out. But if you like to have something under the knees, like we did this last time, that's often helpful for people to have a little bolster or a pillow under the knees to lift the legs up a little bit. You might want a pillow or something under the head. But get yourself cozy. You set yourself up. Maybe dim the lights. Take off eyeglasses. Get yourself really comfortable. And basically, Yoga Nidra is this body scan where I'm going to guide you through a little series of things. Going to take you through all the different parts of the body. Then I'm going to do a couple of other things. And all you have to do is listen to my voice. You don't have to do anything except follow what I'm saying by my voice. Yoga Nidra is not meant to put you to sleep, but if you fall asleep, that's okay. But the goal is basically that you're aware, but you're totally, totally relaxed. But I often have people fall asleep during Yoga Nidra, so that's okay. So once you get yourself comfortable, just take a little notice, like, is your shirt tucked up underneath you and making you uncomfortable? Is your jewelry making you uncomfortable? Anything that might bother you if you lay in it or on it for a certain amount of time, see if you can move it out of the way. And the reason we tend to use socks and a blanket is because when we're laying down like this, it's like everything's slowing down a little bit and we tend to get chilly. So that's why we normally would have a blanket on us, or at least nearby in case you need it. And again, the goal is to not move around or get up. But of course, if you need to, you do that. So go ahead and get yourself into this comfy position and just do a quick scan yourself of your body, noticing if there's anything that's feeling tense or uncomfortable and seeing if you can make any adjustments to that. Start to notice your breathing again. Don't try to manipulate it or do anything. Just inhaling and exhaling through the nose if that's comfortable. Feeling the belly rise on the inhale and sink back toward the ground on the exhale. Let's all take one deep inhale through the nose. Sigh it out the mouth. We'll do two more like that. Inhale deep through the nose. Sigh it out. Make it audible. Nobody can hear you. One more time. Inhale. And then return to your normal breath. Begin to feel the stillness. Rest in the stillness. Become aware of distant sounds. Allow your sense of hearing to extend out, receiving all sounds effortlessly and without judgment or analysis. Simply receive with effortless awareness. Now bring your hearing into the room where you are, receiving sounds within that room. No judgment or analysis, just receiving whatever you hear. Now hear the sound of your own body breathing. Feel the body resting. Be aware of your body breathing. Nothing to do. No need for concentration. Just effortless awareness. Say to yourself mentally, I'm going to practice Yoga Nidra. I will remain awake and aware. Our Yoga Nidra begins now. With a focus on a shift into a new season, we know that all of nature is beginning to slow down. It is a time of rest. Animals will soon be resting. Plants are resting. You are resting. Picture yourself effortlessly following this rhythm of nature, slowing down and resting for a while, without any guilt, letting go of the need to do, allowing yourself to simply be. Knowing that it is perfectly simple and perfectly natural to not do right now. Embrace the joy of simple rest, effortless rest. See your body being rejuvenated and healed as you rest. Rest creates time and space for reflection. You find yourself naturally falling into reflection and aha moments, spontaneous moments of reflection without effort, beautifully effortless. Setting an intention for the season, mentally say to yourself, I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. Now we will take a trip through the body, witnessing with curiosity and effortless awareness. Allow the mind to hop from one body part to the next. No need to think, just awareness. Awareness of any sensations, thoughts, feelings that arise, but without attachment or judgment. Simply listening to my voice and noticing when I mention a body part and moving from one to the next. Bring awareness to the point between the eyebrows, to the hollow of the throat, to the right shoulder, the right elbow, effortless traveling down to the middle of the right wrist, the right thumb, the tip of the index finger, the tip of the middle finger, the tip of the ring finger, the tip of the little finger, back up to the right wrist, the right elbow, the right shoulder, the hollow of the throat. Now bringing your awareness over to the left shoulder, down to the left elbow, and traveling all the way down to the middle of the left wrist, the left thumb, the tip of the index finger, the tip of the middle finger, the tip of the ring finger, the tip of the little finger. Back up to the wrist, to the left elbow, the left shoulder, the hollow of the throat, the heart center, the right side of the chest, the heart center, the left side of the chest, the heart center, the navel center, the tip of the tailbone, the right hip joint, the right knee joint, the right ankle joint, the right big toe, tip of the second toe, tip of the third toe, tip of the fourth toe, tip of the baby toe. Back up to the right ankle joint, right knee joint, right hip joint, tip of the tailbone. Bringing your awareness to the left hip joint, left knee joint, left ankle joint, the left big toe, the tip of the second toe, the tip of the third toe, the tip of the fourth toe, the tip of the baby toe. Back up to the left ankle, the left knee joint, the left hip joint, tip of the tailbone, navel center, heart center, hollow of the throat, the eyebrow center, the eyebrow center, the eyebrow center, the whole right side of the body, the whole left side of the body, the whole body all together, the whole body all together, the whole body all together. Now become aware of the chest and the stomach rising and falling with your breath. Notice the body breathing itself. The chest and belly rise and fall with each breath. Nothing for you to do. Simply witnessing. Awake and aware. Bring your awareness to the nostrils. Feel the breath in the nostrils. Move your awareness to the right nostril. Feel that with each breath stream coming in the right nostril, heat is created in the body. Now move your awareness to the left nostril. Feel that with each breath coming in the left nostril, cooling is created in the body. Now bring awareness to both nostrils and feel the balance of two streams of breath coming in, right and left, heating and cooling. Now we will begin to manifest some sensations in the body. Start by feeling the sensation of crisp, cold winter air on your face, your arms, hands, legs, feet, as if you just stepped outside into a crisp winter's day. Feel the cold permeating your clothes from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, and from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Cold air all around you. You feel goosebumps across your skin, shivering. Feel cold air flowing in with each inhalation. Feel cold in all parts of your body. Cold in the arms, cold legs, torso, head. Feel cold on your face, cheeks, tips of your nose, cold at your temples, cold at the top of your head. Now let go of the sensation of cold. Completely let it go. Let go of all of the sensation of cold throughout the whole body. Notice that you can release the sensation of cold from your body. Now manifest the sensation of heat in the body. Feel heat rising in the whole body. Bring awareness to your navel center, the energy center, where you create heat and radiate it throughout your body. Feel the navel center like a blazing fire. Incredible heat radiating out, creating warmth for your whole body, right out to the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. Heat is permeating your whole body. Feel heat deep in your bones, radiating out, expanding in all directions to the muscles, the skin, the arms and legs, tips of the toes and fingers, face, ears, top of the head. An abundance of heat throughout your entire body. So much so it spills out, heating the air around your body. A heat wave. Feel heat in every pore. Feels your body's breaking out in a sweat. Heat throughout the whole body. Now let go of the sensation of heat. Completely let it go. Let go of that sensation and notice that you're able to let go of that sensation. Now I will name a series of symbols, images, thoughts, or feelings. Continue to be a witness, effortless, simply watching with detached awareness. Let the images come and go like you're watching them on a screen in the dark of your eyes. A paperback book, a starry sky, a glistening snowdrift, a cozy red hat, white sand beach, trees swaying in the wind, a hot bath, freshly squeezed juice, a fluffy pillow, sunshine through a window, a full moon in the sky, a warm cup of tea in your hands, falling leaves, the sound of a cat purring, complete stillness. We now come back to the seasonal intention we began at the start. I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. I shift beautifully into a season of rest and reflection. Take a moment now to feel the peace of that rest and reflection. Become aware of your breath, your body resting and breathing. Hear the sound of your body breathing. Feel the sensation of your body breathing. Become aware of the space you're in without opening your eyes. Imagining yourself on the mat, on the floor, in your chair. Listening for sounds, first within the room, and then maybe sounds outside the room. Knowing that the practice of Yoga Nidra is coming to an end. Begin to become more aware of your body. Feel the awareness coming back as Yoga Nidra is now complete. Make some little movements with your toes and your fingers. Rock the head gently from side to side. Make any other movements that would feel good. When you're ready, maybe take a full body stretch. And eventually roll to the right side, as we've done a few times now. Pause there with your arm underneath you as a pillow. Knees bent in a little bit. And eventually coming back up to a seat. Closing the eyes, bringing the hands to prayer position at the heart. And I'll read this last poem called Resting in What Is. I rest in sacred presence, not seeking meaning or essence, just resting in what is. The power of this stuns me. To rest awareness on the one is like holding the sun in my bare hands. Instead of being burned, I feel a surge of energy. Whenever I trace longing, love, or prayer back to its first impulse, there it is, inviting me to rest, filling me with wholeness and contentment, as if the sun has risen in my soul and nothing else exists but this. Just bow the head slightly. If you had an intention when you started the practice, maybe come back to that. And as we pause before we end our practice, taking a moment to remember all those loved ones, friends who have gone before us during this sacred time. Taking a moment to think of all of those people who are so special to you and who still feel so close to you, even though we are on these opposite sides of this thin veil. Tonight, I would like to say offer special intention, special prayer for a little boy by the name of Ozzy who died this past week. He is the son of a friend, and I told her that tonight we would remember him in our intention. So if you can remember Ozzy, and also his parents, Carrie and Luke, who could really use some prayers at this very difficult time. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace on our planet. Thank you for being with me tonight. I'll come back over here before everybody signs off.